Hey everyone, welcome back. Today, we're counting down the top 20 indie games you absolutely need on your Nintendo Switch right now in 2026. These aren't just good games, they're the kind you think about when you're not playing them. Let's get into it. Minishoot Adventures is one of those indie games that instantly clicks the moment you pick it up, blending smooth, twin-stick shooting with a surprisingly deep exploration loop. Instead of a typical hero, you pilot a small ship across a colorful world filled with secrets, tight dungeons, and intense, bullet-filled encounters that constantly test your reflexes. The progression feels rewarding, as every upgrade not only boosts your power, but also unlocks new paths, pushing you to revisit areas with fresh abilities. Combat stays fast and satisfying, striking a perfect balance between dodging chaos and staying aggressive. What really makes it stand out is how naturally everything flows together, creating a gameplay loop that keeps pulling you forward. It's a compact adventure, but every moment feels polished, making it easy to lose track of time while chasing upgrades, discovering hidden paths, and taking on increasingly challenging bosses. Planet of Lana II builds on everything that made the first game memorable, delivering a cinematic, side-scrolling adventure that feels both calm and intense at the same time. You guide Lana and Mew through a stunning alien world filled with handcrafted environments where every scene looks like a living painting. Gameplay mixes smooth platforming with clever puzzles that gradually become more layered, encouraging you to think while staying immersed. New movement abilities add fluidity and open up exploration, making each area feel more dynamic than before. The real strength comes from its storytelling, which remains subtle and emotional, letting the bond between the characters shine without relying on dialogue. It's the kind of experience that pulls you in quietly, then keeps you hooked with its atmosphere, pacing, and sense of discovery from start to finish. Reanimal delivers a haunting co-op adventure that leans fully into atmosphere, tension, and emotional storytelling. You follow a brother and sister exploring a twisted island filled with disturbing creatures and eerie, decaying environments that constantly keep you on edge. Instead of relying on combat, the game focuses on stealth, puzzles, and coordination, making every encounter feel tense and meaningful. The shared camera adds pressure, forcing you to stay close and move carefully, especially during chase sequences where one mistake can cost everything. What really stands out is how the world tells its story through visuals and sound, creating a dark, immersive journey without needing much dialogue. It's the kind of experience that pulls you in with its unsettling vibe and keeps you hooked as you uncover more of its mysterious, haunting world. Balatro. Poker meets roguelike deck building, and somehow it works perfectly. You're playing poker hands, but you're also collecting jokers that modify the rules in wild ways. Suddenly, flushes are worth triple, or face cards give you multiplier bonuses. Each run feels completely different because the joker combinations create these insane synergies you couldn't have planned for. The core loop is addictive. Play hands to earn chips, use chips to buy jokers and upgrades, then push further into increasingly difficult blinds. It sounds simple, but the depth reveals itself as you discover new strategies. Maybe you focus on building a specific hand type, or you chase multiplier stacking, or you create some weird hybrid strategy that barely makes sense but somehow works. The risk-reward calculation is constant. Do you play it safe or go for that huge combo? Failed runs don't feel punishing because you're immediately theory crafting your next attempt. Mio, Memories in Orbit, delivers a sleek Metroidvania experience that pulls you into a beautifully crafted sci-fi world filled with mystery and quiet emotion. You play as a small android exploring a massive, abandoned spaceship, where every area feels like a hand-painted scene packed with secrets waiting to be uncovered. Movement is smooth and satisfying, with abilities like wall climbing and aerial traversal gradually opening up new paths and encouraging exploration. Combat adds a layer of challenge, focusing on timing, positioning, and learning enemy patterns rather than button mashing. What really stands out is the atmosphere, with minimal storytelling that lets the world speak for itself through visuals and sound. It's the kind of game that rewards patience and curiosity, keeping you hooked as you push deeper into its haunting, interconnected world. Pizza Tower. Pure, chaotic energy condensed into a platformer. You're this unhinged pizza chef sprinting through levels, destroying everything in your path, and the game actively rewards you for going fast and being aggressive. The movement is incredibly fluid. You're wall climbing, shoulder bashing enemies, and chaining together attacks while maintaining momentum. Every level has this timer mechanic where you're racing back to the start after reaching the end, and it transforms familiar spaces into frantic escape sequences. The sprite work is expressive and cartoony, animations are exaggerated, and everything has personality bursting from the screen. Boss fights are inventive and require you to adapt your playstyle on the fly. What keeps me coming back is the score-chasing aspect. Each level has secrets, collectibles, and combo potential that encourage replaying with different strategies. The difficulty is challenging but fair. When you mess up, it's on you, not the game. Katana Zero. Neo-noir samurai action that feels like controlling a movie. You're a katana-wielding assassin with time manipulation powers, and levels are these bite-sized combat puzzles where one hit kills you, but one hit also kills enemies. You're planning your approach, executing perfectly timed slashes, deflecting bullets, and slowing time to pull off impossible moves. When you nail a sequence without dying, it plays back in real time, and it looks absolutely cinematic. The story is dark and trippy, dealing with war trauma, drug addiction, and manipulation, told through conversations where your dialogue choices actually affect how scenes play out. The soundtrack is synthwave perfection that matches the neon-soaked aesthetic. Between levels, you're exploring your apartment, talking to neighbors, and piecing together what's real versus what's drug-induced hallucination. Combat feels incredible, responsive, precise, and endlessly satisfying. Ori and the Blind Forest, Definitive Edition. This Metroidvania is an absolute masterclass in emotional storytelling through gameplay. You're Ori, this spirit guardian exploring a dying forest, and from the opening minutes, the game establishes an emotional core that drives everything. The platforming is incredibly precise and fluid. You're wall jumping, dashing, and later gaining abilities like Bash that let you launch off projectiles mid-air. Movement feels like dancing once you master the mechanics. The world is gorgeously hand-painted with dynamic lighting and environmental storytelling that conveys beauty and decay simultaneously. Combat is there, but takes a backseat to exploration and puzzle solving. What makes it unforgettable are the escape sequences, these intense, perfectly choreographed moments where you're platforming at full speed while the environment collapses around you, and one mistake means starting over. The difficulty can be punishing, but there's a save anywhere system that lets you manage the challenge. Sea of Stars. This turn-based RPG is a love letter to classic JRPGs, but modernized brilliantly. You're controlling Solstice warriors on a quest to stop an alchemist creating monsters, and the story explores themes of duty, friendship, and sacrifice without getting preachy. The combat system is engaging because it's timing-based. You're hitting buttons during attacks for bonus damage, and can reduce incoming damage by timing defensive presses. This keeps battles active and engaging instead of passive menu selecting. The world is gorgeous, with pixel art that uses lighting and color in ways that feel modern. Exploration rewards curiosity with hidden treasures and side content that fleshes out the world. The game respects your time too. No random encounters, fast travel unlocks naturally, and quality of life features like adjustable difficulty mean it's accessible without losing challenge. The soundtrack is phenomenal, blending nostalgic chiptune elements with orchestral arrangements. Vampire Survivors, the game that launched 1,000 clones, and it's still the best. You're auto-attacking waves of enemies while walking around, collecting experience gems, and leveling up to choose new weapons and passive abilities. It sounds simple because it is, but the depth comes from synergy building. Certain weapon and passive combinations create builds that feel completely broken in the best way. Runs last about 30 minutes, and you're constantly making decisions about which upgrades to prioritize while dodging increasingly dense enemy patterns. The progression system is genius. Unlocking new characters, stages, and items feeds back into creating new build possibilities. It's the perfect one more run game because sessions are short but deeply satisfying. The retro graphics and simple presentation hide how much content is packed in. Every character plays differently, encouraging experimentation and discovering a new synergy that trivializes previously impossible stages feels incredible. Balatro Pit is one of those indie games that hooks you instantly with a simple idea and then keeps expanding into something way deeper. You drop into a chaotic pit where bouncing balls become your main weapon, clearing waves of enemies while managing angles, positioning, and fast-paced movement. Each run feels fresh thanks to a wide range of upgrades, letting you evolve your balls into powerful combinations with explosive effects, lasers, or chain reactions. What really makes it stand out is the progression loop, as every run feeds into rebuilding your base, unlocking new characters, and pushing further each time. The mix of arcade-style action and roguelike depth creates a satisfying rhythm that keeps you coming back. It's easy to learn, hard to master, and perfect for quick sessions that can easily turn into hours. Cuphead, the run-and-gun boss rush that became legendary for its difficulty and 1930s cartoon aesthetic, finally feels perfect on Switch. You playing as Cuphead or Mugman, fighting through elaborately designed boss battles to repay a debt to the devil. Every boss is a multi-phase encounter requiring pattern memorization, precise movement, and quick reflexes. The hand-drawn animation is stunning. Every frame looks like it was pulled from a vintage cartoon, complete with film grain and watercolor backgrounds. Combat is tight and responsive. You're shooting, dashing, parrying pink projectiles to build your super meter, and learning attack patterns through repetition. The difficulty is brutal but fair. When you die, it's because you messed up, not because the game cheated. Each boss has unique mechanics and personality, from a giant vegetables to a sentient train, and figuring out their patterns is genuinely satisfying. Dave the Diver. This game has no business being as addictive as it is. By day, you're diving in this mysterious blue hole, catching fish, discovering secrets, and exploring an ocean that changes each time you dive. By night, you're running a sushi restaurant, serving the fish you caught, managing staff, and upgrading your operation. The loop is incredibly satisfying. Better restaurant equipment lets you serve fancier dishes, which earns more money to buy better diving gear, which lets you explore deeper and catch rarer fish. The diving mechanics are simple but engaging. You're managing oxygen, dealing with different fish behaviors, avoiding environmental hazards, and fighting occasional boss creatures. The restaurant management is streamlined and fun rather than stressful. What really hooked me is how much content is packed in. There's a surprisingly deep story involving ocean mysteries, environmental themes, and quirky characters. Animal Well. This Metroidvania is intentionally mysterious and rewards patient exploration. You're a blob navigating this interconnected underground world, filled with animals, puzzles, and secrets, layered so deep that the community is still discovering things months after release. The game doesn't hold your hand. There's no map marker telling you where to go, no tutorial explaining every mechanic. You're figuring things out through experimentation and observation. The item-based progression is brilliant. Each tool you find opens new paths and reveals previously hidden secrets. The puzzle design is multi-layered. Solutions that seem obvious at first often have deeper applications you'll discover hours later. The pixel art is gorgeous, with incredible lighting effects and atmospheric environments. Animals aren't really enemies. They're part of the ecosystem you're navigating, each with behaviors you can learn and exploit. Spelunky 2. The roguelike platformer that perfected the genre and then somehow made a sequel that's even better. Every run is procedurally generated, but the generation follows rules that create fair, learnable challenges. You're exploring caves, jungles, volcanoes, and weirder places, gathering treasure while avoiding traps and enemies that can kill you in seconds. The movement is incredibly precise. You can whip enemies, throw objects, use ropes and bombs strategically, and ride animals. What makes it special is how every element interacts with every other element. Explosions damage everything. Liquids flow realistically. Enemies fight each other. You're constantly improvising based on what the game throws at you. Death is permanent but fast, so restarting doesn't feel punishing. The skill ceiling is astronomical. Speedrunners are still finding new tech and routes. Slay the Spire, the deck-building roguelike that defined the genre and remains the gold standard. You're climbing a spire, fighting enemies through turn-based card battles, and building your deck by adding cards after each fight. The genius is in the decision-making. Every card you add changes your deck's strategy, and sometimes the best choice is skipping cards to keep your deck lean. You're balancing offense, defense, and utility while planning synergies between cards, relics, and character powers. Each of the 4 characters plays completely differently, with unique mechanics that fundamentally change strategies. Runs take about an hour, and the variety is endless because of how cards and relics combine. You'll discover synergies that feel broken, but the game scales difficulty to match. The risk-reward calculation is constant. Do you take the safe path or fight elites for better rewards? The art style is simple but functional, keeping focus on strategic decisions. Celeste. This precision platformer is brutally challenging, but designed with compassion. You're climbing Celeste Mountain as Madeline, dealing with anxiety and self-doubt manifested through gameplay challenges. The controls are incredibly tight. You have a dash, wall climb, and jump, and these simple tools are used in increasingly complex ways. Each chapter introduces new mechanics that build on previous concepts. The level design is genius. Screens are bite-sized challenges that you'll die on repeatedly, but respawns are instant and checkpoints are generous. You're learning through failure, and when you finally nail that screen you've been stuck on, the satisfaction is real. The assist mode is there if you need it, offering customizable difficulty without judgment. The story about mental health is handled with genuine care and resonates without being preachy. The pixel art is beautiful, with great use of color, and the soundtrack is phenomenal. Lena Raine's compositions perfectly match the emotional beats. Absolum is a modern beat-em-up that takes the classic arcade formula and injects it with fresh, roguelike energy, creating a fast, satisfying loop that's hard to put down. Set in a dark fantasy world, you fight through waves of enemies using fluid combos, dodges, and powerful abilities that make every encounter feel dynamic and skill-based. Each character brings a unique playstyle, encouraging experimentation and keeping runs feeling different every time. What really stands out is the progression system, where upgrades, branching paths, and changing encounters constantly push you to adapt and improve. The handcrafted visuals and smooth animations give the game a strong identity, while co-op adds another layer of chaos and fun. It's the kind of experience that feels instantly familiar but quickly reveals surprising depth, making every run a chance to refine your strategy and push further than before.
Of the Sun King who dares stand in your path. According to your favorite playstyle, you can choose to fight.
Hades II follows Minishoot, a young witch and daughter of Hades, as she trains and fights her way through multiple layers of the underworld in pursuit of Kronos, the Titan of Time, who has taken control below. The combat builds on everything the first game established, and then pushes well past it. You have access to weapons, boons from Olympian gods, and magical tools that interact with each other in deep and satisfying ways. Each run plays differently, depending on which gods you encounter and which abilities you choose to stack, and figuring out powerful combinations is one of the most enjoyable parts of the whole experience. The characters surrounding Minishoot are written with the same sharp, warm energy the original was known for. Conversations evolve across runs, relationships develop, and the story moves forward in ways that feel genuinely earned. The world is bigger than the first game, with multiple regions and entirely new mechanics to discover as you progress. Hollow Knight Silksong is the game Switch owners waited years for, and it was worth every second. You play as Hornet, the fierce, needle-wielding warrior from the original Hollow Knight, who finds herself in a vast new kingdom called Farloom, a towering, layered world of silk, bone, and strange creatures with their own histories and behaviors. Where the original game gave you a slow, methodical hero, Silksong gives you someone fast and aggressive. Hornet moves with purpose. Her combat tools, silk abilities, and traversal options open up in ways that constantly change how you move through the world. The Kingdom of Farloom is enormous and densely packed with secrets, optional bosses, hidden areas, and environmental storytelling that reveals its world gradually and without explanation. The boss fights are exceptional, some of the best in any action game, full stop. The story is quiet and atmospheric, building something unsettling and intriguing through detail and implication rather than dialogue dumps. That's the top 10. Every single one of these is worth your time. Whether you're into brutal platformers, deep card games, or massive adventure worlds, the Switch lineup in 2026 is genuinely stacked. Drop a comment with your favorite indie on Switch right now. And if this helped you pick your next game, hit subscribe. See you in the next one.